everyone, this is Tomo Daphne. Welcome back to Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. Today we have begun with Nagito's trial and just... let's go!
Talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
So that's why there was Gregorian chanting. The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because our eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Then that darkness allowed a hymn blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, do you guys hear something? Besides the Gregorian chanting, no. Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. As if on cue, it suddenly started. And I'm not talking about the sex. I'm talking about fire.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling. But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right?
Well, the entire fire was pretty strange.
It was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
Because there was a cardboard cutout lodged beneath the doorknob. It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, it'll be fine. With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. Clatter, clatter, clatter. Huh? It's not opening. Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. I know it. It's a trap. Seriously, just stop it, okay? Didn't I tell you I'll be fine? I just gotta use a little more force. And then she kicks down the door. What happened to opening it slowly? Akane ignored their protests and with a mighty kick the door flew open. Bam!
So the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel. And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
And then...
yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because there was
the
a...
panel
yeah.
was blocking it, right? But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
So you've got a classic locked door murder. Dun dun dun!
I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
If that door was the only entrance to the warehouse. I see. So the problem Chiaki's talking about is the killer couldn't have left.
I see. If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right? Now that you mention
I mean, the last time we had a locked door murder, it ended up being a suicide, so what's the chance?
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
And yeah, some kind of setup that Nagito used to murder himself.
There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Huh?
you don't mean.
But if that's true, this murder...
Hajime? What do you mean?
Could you, finish the sentence? The person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse. There's only one person who could have done that. Select someone. Kazuichi, no. Pekko, no. Naming all the wrong people.
This is my answer. What if it was Nagito?
Cause face it, he's the only person on this island who is enough of a freak to kill anybody that way, including himself. I mean, I know Fuyuhiko hated him, but he also had a gun. Or no, Monomi confiscated the gun. But still, Fuyuhiko would be efficient.
He was the victim, and he was the perpetrator too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid.
I am not the stupid one here for you, Hiko.
His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget?
He could have stabbed his own legs.
Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
It makes sense. Nagito is enough of a freak.
Remember? Even for
Could have.
Nagito, it'd be impossible
Well,
for him to
only-
tie up his own arms and legs.
He could have tied up his own legs and also the left arm. The right arm,
Yeah.
it did have rope around it, but it wasn't like tethered to anything. So he had a free right hand, with which he could tie his left hand.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
You're clearly not thinking about it enough. Like he said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but this is Danganronpa, where any murder is possible. I feel like I'm overlooking something. Bleep, 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 bleep. Yeah, burned rope. The rope was never actually burned. He just like cut it short to make it look like it had been burned by the fire. See, this was a plan. He set this all up so that one of us could kill him by
His
accident.
arms and legs were... No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
Like if the end of the rope was burned, he could have
It
like
was just burned by the fire.
lit the lighter initially, put the rope over the flame
Like you said, it
so that it like burned in half, so that he'd have some free rope
was part of the
and
trap.
some that he could tie around his wrist.
That proves it.
The proof that the burned rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap, the knife in his right sleeve?
I see.
Was his right sleeve burned at all?
Close look at his right sleeve.
I took a picture of the body. If you're squeamish, I suggest you look away.
The rope was burnt up. His sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this,
Yeah.
no matter how you think about it, is unnatural.
Yeah, because if the fire did reach the...
That rope was burned in advance, so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Yeah, if it had burned in the fire naturally, I think the fire would have spread up to his shirt, sweater.
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
No, thank you.
Honey, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
Sonya, never mind. Ultimate scammer. Never lets a cop a feel without paying.
From him before I let him touch me, right?
A Benjamin? I don't have Benjamins on me. The most I have is like an Andrew Jackson.
Even if his right hand wasn't tied up,
The knife is still stabbed into it, you know?
it's impossible to
Just stab a knife into your right hand with your right... His mouth...
That much is obvious.
If you eliminate all the impossible options, whatever is remaining, however improbable, is the truth. Sherlock Holmes. Here, she wants my money back? What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way. Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000%.
I didn't even give you money. I think I still owe $1 million to Monokuma. Or did he forgive that debt? A way to stab yourself on your right hand using only your right hand. It's okay, there's definitely an answer for this. Weep, 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 weep.
Even if Nagito's right hand was free,
Monokuma plushie had
how could
blood
he
on
stab his
it.
right hand with his right hand?
If you threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
But what is its chance of success with that? Like, the knife can go in the air. Once it goes down, there's no telling where it can land. It could have landed on his nose. Okay, now that we're not on that tangent.
Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
It makes sense. That's why there was a big hole.
He must have, like, dug the handle of the knife into the plushie stump. Maybe he stabbed the plushie stomach first and then put the handle of the knife in the hole.
If that's
And then he slammed his hand down on it.
And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
It is no longer mysterious. It is
So
Nagito's.
the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed a knife into his own right hand.
And I guess it just stayed on his right hand as he put it back down.
So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
I was hoping Monokuma died or something.
Bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
Okay, what does that even have to do with this case?
He no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin.
How? He had a knife through his hand.
Probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy
The evidence.
So what do you think now, Ryuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right?
Yes.
If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear
Should be the last thing to happen to Nagito.
If
So
that's
how does
true,
that happen
how is that
when all of his
possible?
limbs are
He can't grab the
compromised?
spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
His mouth. I'm gonna keep suggesting his mouth until it turns out to be right.
As he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his
Nah, if it went into his stomach, he would have died instantly.
There is a limit to his constitution. If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Hey. Yeah?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said,
Said.
if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Try it one more time. Please repeat.
For reason.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out.
Okay.
Like she said,
Done with that tangent.
it's very difficult to
Stab yourself with a spear.
It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab into your right hand.
While your left hand is tied up and legs are out of the
So
question.
you're saying it's impossible?
No, it's not. We're Danganronpa. Any murder is possible. Monokuma, can that be our motto? Yeah, sure. Why not? Any murder is possible.
Someone else. I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right?
I still think.
That's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes with this time, too.
I still think Nagito is the one who set everything up.
Your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone.
I make the rules and I can bend them as I please. Mono me, mono me.
Plan of my own.
Yeah, what is it?
Monogamy sassing me.
Do you want the rope?
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed.
Yeah, I
over
still
and
think
over again,
Nagito
so-
orchestrated this and was waiting for someone to like start the fire, get the ball rolling, which would drop the spear into his stomach. The reason.
There is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
So the reason
Of course, that doesn't include Miss.
he
Sylvie.
stabbed his legs repeatedly is beyond me. That we could just chalk that up to Nagito being Nagito.
But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone.
Because it is better to have friends who murder people than to not have friends at all.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
What did I just say, Monokuma? Any murder is possible.
It's difficult, but I never said impossible.
Anything is possible with the right weapon in your hand.
But there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together.
If we put our heads together, regardless of intellectual value, we must be able to come up with something.
Everyone together.
She is right. We've made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. Even though usually the job has been mine.
Alright, let's do this.
Bwee, 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 bwee.
How did Nagito
Blood on left
stab himself with a spear?
Blood on left hand, or lack thereof.
When the
He
spear
was-
stabbed Nagito,
Yeah, his fingers were
his
curled
right hand
up
was covered by the knife, right?
because he was holding
He's only able to move his
a something.
But his left hand was
Couldn't have
also
been the
tied
knife though. He could have been holding the cord on that spear and dropped it. Yeah, because there was like a stripe of blood on the rafters. That could have been like where the cord on that spear
It's
was.
still too early to dismiss
He
the
had
possibility
the
that
end of the
he's
spear
left.
in his hand, so it's like a pulley system. He lets go of the cord, the spear drops into his stomach.
But there was something
Because his
off
wrist
about
was
his
tied up, but his fingers sure were mobile.
bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange?
Or no, by that logic,
He only had blood on the
his
lower area of
fingers
his
would have been
palm.
uncurled by the time
The
that
bloodstain
spear
suddenly
landed.
cuts off, right?
Maybe.
When the blood splattered. That's as far as
What
it
could he have been
went.
holding that his fingers would have been curled like
That
this?
settles the description of that blood stain. But it's not the only unnatural blood stain.
The blood on the rafter. Oh, his fingers. We're not at the rafters yet.
Joints of his fingers.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural blood stain. What's wrong with that?
Then what sort of blood splatter?
Use our imaginations for a bit.
What kind of blood splatter
If there's blood on
would
his
have
palm
gotten
and the
him?
back of his hand,
No.
what was his left hand doing as the blood
There's
splattered?
blood on his palm. Now there wasn't any blood on his palm, only on his fingers. He was gripping. He had something in his hand that he was holding.
When the blood splattered,
It could have
he was probably
been
gripping with his left hand.
the cord of the spear
There's such a strange
as he
looking
slammed
blood
his hand into the Monokuma plushie. Knife.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear! Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild. He probably made
Yeah,
his
left
wounds mild
arm.
on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
Okay, so yeah, he used the knife to slash up his right arm, then he put the knife in the plushie, slammed his hand down. Wait, no, yeah, he had the spear in hand as he slashed up his left arm. Okay, hold on, Okay, let's rewind the simulation in my brain. So Nagito has his left arm out. He's holding the spear.
Got it.
It has, let's assume it's been tied on at this point. He has the knife in his other hand. He slashes up his left arm. Then he turns the knife around, puts the handle in the spear, slams his right hand down, and then lays it out, knife still in hand. And then with his left hand, he dropped the spear. Yeah, the cord. That gigantic, useless cord.
That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding onto the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was
Yeah,
cut
the
off by
cord
something.
was already in his hand when he slashed up his arm.
Section about
The same size as a human fist.
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh? And then the blood that was supposed to end up here
Was
ended up hitting
actually,
on Nagito's left hand.
yeah, like that.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
So getting back to the pulley system and the rafters.
Ripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
No, only a stupid person would say that.
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki?
Ah,
I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Nagito was gripping the cord, standing from the butt of the spear with his left. But from there, how would he stab himself in the stomach with the spear? Let's all have a good think. Let's all go on a logic dive.
Seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time? At a time like this,
I'm not in the mood for tea. Give me Red Bull.
try to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once.
That's a long plan, Nate.
I'm a little delirious.
One step at a time.
I went on a walk today and it was hot outside. I might be dehydrated.
Let's focus on the spear first.
Maybe where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito. How was his position? Yeah, can you think this through, Hajime? Nagito was facing up and the spear was stabbed through his stomach. So if it's just before that, that's it. Could it be? The spear stabbed Nagito perpendicularly. He was holding the tip of the cord attachment. So if I just do a real quick logic dive, if I put all those facts together along with what we found at the warehouse and think about it through a logic dive, I should be able to figure it out. Where the spear was and what state it was in before it stabbed Nagito. Logic dive. Okay, go to the left and to the right. Nope. It's where they start getting cutesy with their level design. Obstacles that pop up. The spear just before Nagito. There's also above Nagito's ceiling girder. What item connects both the spear and the ceiling girder? The spear's cord.
It's all coming together. The spear impaled Nagito as he was laying face up. It must have been perpendicular to him just before that.
You might want to define perpendicular first to these people.
Middle of the air?
Not perpendicular means that, like, if you have a line going this way, the perpendicular line will go this way, Kazuichi.
Probably use the ceiling girder directly above him.
Nagito probably slung the cord over the ceiling girder. And using
That
as
is
a
a support.
he hoisted the spear directly above him.
Like this.
Nagito let go of the cord. The spear would have fallen.
Okay, you didn't have to depict it so graphically.
I noticed the slight
Yeah, and the
red
blood
streak on
got
the
on the
ceiling
girder
It probably
because
got
that was the
speared
part that was in
himself.
his hand when he slashed himself.
The blood on the cord probably rubbed off on the ceiling girder as the spear was falling. So, how about it? Using this method, Nagito could have impaled himself with the spear.
Are you serious? He really committed suicide? Like that?
He
Hold on, we have to...
probably chose that spear so he could commit suicide like that.
I feel like...
If someone else did this, there's no reason they go to all this trouble just to kill someone with a spear.
Yeah, we have to figure out how this fire is
I agree.
connected.
When I was investigating this case, I kept thinking over and over how strange it was.
Because was the
Why did
fire
the killer use the knife and the spear
to
so
destroy evidence?
So you're saying he needed to use that spear to pull
Because
off his
what all got burned in the fire? Just a few Monokuma panels.
Really?
There has to be
Suicide?
another reason for the fire.
Every single wound on his body. That was all him?
Because, like, if he really wanted to kill himself, he would have left it at dropping the spear. Unless he really is just Nagito who was a freak like that. So here's a graphic image of Nagito stabbing his legs.
Which means Nagito wounded himself while he was gripping that spear, right?
So, like,
Did he put the duct
tying
tape
his
on
left
mouth
hand was
too?
the first part of this process.
Probably covered his own mouth so he wouldn't hear him screaming in pain.
Did he need to go that far?
So he slings the cord of the spear over the ceiling girder and grabs onto it. Step 2, he ties his left hand. Now step 2 would be him
Trying to get us to make a mistake.
tying his right hand
Committing a suicide
and
that
then
looked like
his
a
left
He
hand.
was trying to steer us
So with the partially burned rope, he had the knife in his right hand, he stabbed his legs and his arm. Snap. And then he tied his legs.
Did he want us to die that bad?
And then, knife in the plushie, skewers his hand, lets it fall down on the floor, and then drops the spear. Jeez, and I was starting to feel a little sympathetic toward him. How stupid of me. I completely underestimated his capacity for malice. A mind-boggling malice that threatens us even after he's died. That's the form his malice took. I'd forgotten all about it until now. If he was here now, he'd probably be sneering at me.
However, there is one thing I still do not understand. He said he would reveal the traitor, right? Whatever became of that?
I don't know.
He was probably planning to kill the traitor along with the rest of us.
But no, he wanted to single out the
So why did he
traitor.
not just do that in the first place? If he had no qualms with killing everyone, he did not have to cause a bomb scare to reveal the traitor.
I bet the bomb scare was part of the strategy behind this trip. He made us split up and search for a bomb so none of us would have an alibi. He created a scenario where any of us could have killed him.
He tried to make us doubt each other and tried to hide the truth behind his suicide.
No.
Did he cause a bomb scare for that reason alone?
He wants to single out the traitor.
He's a fucking
He wants to make sure only they die.
Grandeur. It's not that unthinkable.
You are right, I suppose.
You think Nagito had delusions of grandeur? He spent his entire life on this island saying, "Step on me, daddy."
Bastard Nagito.
But what about the part where he said he's the daddy who's stepping on us? I certainly feel stepped on right now.
Should be okay, right? Right?
What? You're not satisfied yet?
No, I agree that Nagito killed himself, but I feel like there's something that doesn't make sense. It's probably just my imagination.
Go on, spit it out. Why? I mean, I sort of understand what she's talking about. I don't think it's a mistake to assume that Nagito committed suicide, but why do I feel so uneasy about it? Is it because we don't know who the traitor is, or...
So what are you gonna do? Is it okay to proceed with the voting time?
Hold on.
What do you think, Connie?
Well, there's no doubt Nagito's death was a suicide. Oh well, I guess my gut is wrong sometimes.
You are right. It is not as though we can draw any other conclusion.
Then it's okay to end it here, huh?
No, I still have a feeling about that fire.
This last class trial, and we can
I don't
move this
think-
on, right?
He set a fire to burn
So
evidence.
we reach such a happy ending, right?
No.
Then it's okay? It's okay to say you've decided on the killer? Understood. Then voting time.
Shut up.
No, hold on.
Did you just tell me to shut up? Yes, I did.
Hold on. Why?
I have a whole selection of truth
Sorry,
bullets that I
just a
haven't
little
used
more.
yet.
I want you guys to wait just a little more. I can't help but feel like there's still something we overlooked.
Like who the traitor is?
No, not who the traitor
But
is.
the issue here is who killed Nagito, right? Even if we identify the traitor, the conclusion won't change.
That's true, but
The mystery isn't just about who the traitor is.
Huh?
No matter how you look at it, Nagito's death is a suicide. But I'm a little worried, you know? I'm worried about starting the voting time while there's still a mystery.
Hey, what do you mean it's not about who the traitor is? What kind of mystery is left?
Let me tell you, peanut brain. But that's gonna happen in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to blast that patriarchy, smash that like button, Bomberman that subscribe button, and I will see you next time with the next episode of Danganronpa 2. Goodbye.